planning versus strategizing. What you need to know. Planning is a practice that has existed for a very, very long period. People would prepare their schedules for their planned activities. More recently, there has been a discipline known as strategy. These two concepts have been combined to form the term strategic planning. Unfortunately, strategy and planning are not the same things. Therefore, simply combining them and calling them strategic planning is ineffective. In the business sector, most strategic planning has nothing to do with strategy. The word is there, but it isn't. It is a list of tasks that the business promises to complete. The customer experience will be enhanced. We're going to start up this new factory. We're launching a brand new talent development initiative. There is a long list of them, and while they all seem promising, the lack of strategy will prevent the organization from being satisfied with the outcomes. What then is a strategy? A strategy is a comprehensive collection of decisions that prepares you to succeed on a chosen playing field. There is a theory behind strategy. Here are some reasons why we should play on this field rather than that one, along with some ways in which we will outperform everyone else in terms of how well we serve the customers there. That theory ought to make sense. It must be feasible. For it to be a successful strategy, you must be able to turn that into actions. Planning need not be coherent in this way. And what manufacturing personnel typically want, the few things they want, like building a new plant. What marketing personnel want, to introduce a new brand, tends to be a list with no internal coherence and no indication of how those things will work together to achieve a company goal. Planning is, in fact, extremely comforting. Plans often relate to the resources you intend to use. Therefore, we will create a plan. We'll be hiring some individuals. We're introducing a brand new product. All of those factors fall under the cost-related category for businesses. Who oversees your expenses? Who is the client for your costs? You are, in fact, the answer. You choose how many raw materials you acquire, how many square feet to lease, and how many employees to hire. These are more comfortable since you can manage them. Contrarily, a strategy outlines the competitive outcome you hope to attain, which is that enough customers will want your product or service to justify purchasing enough of it to generate the desired level of profitability. The problematic part of that is that you have no control over them. No matter how much you'd like to, you can't. They make the decisions, not you. That is a trickier one. Putting yourself out there and saying, "Here's what we believe will happen," is what that means. This is what we want to happen and what we think will happen, albeit we can't prove it in advance or guarantee it. Building a factory, increasing employee numbers, etc. are far easier to promise than convincing buyers to prefer our product over those of competitors. Planning presents a challenge since, while you're doing it, at least one competitor is probably working on a winning strategy. When US airlines were busy calculating which routes to fly and what routes to avoid, there was this little firm in Texas named Southwest that had a winning strategy. And because it was so small at first, it appeared to be largely insignificant. Southwest Airlines sought a specific result. They sought to serve as a Greyhound replacement, providing a far more convenient means of transportation at a cost that wasn't noticeably more than that of a Greyhound bus. Everyone else, according to Southwest, flies hub and spoke. They have hubs and fly hub and spoke. We'll fly point to point so that we don't have airplanes sitting on the ground, since you only make money when you're in the air. We're only going to fly 737s, therefore our gates, systems, trainings, and simulations are all built up for them. Because we'll focus on short trips, we won't be serving meals on the flights. We won't use travel brokers to make our reservations. Since booking online is more convenient and less expensive overall, we will encourage individuals to do so. They were able to provide prices that were significantly lower because their technique ultimately had a lower cost than any of the major carriers. It grew bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it flies the most passenger seat miles in America because it had a way of winning. The big carriers weren't competing with one another. As I said, they were all playing purely for fun. They weren't playing with any theory of how they could outperform their rivals. They were just playing to participate. Maybe buy more planes, gain more gates, maybe grow some. And up until someone said, "Here's a way to be better than everyone else for this segment," that was fine. The segment continues after that. It is gone. After Southwest has taken whatever portion it desires, the primary participants must split the smaller pie that remains. How can you begin escaping this planning trap? This comfort trap of doing something that is convenient but bad for you? The most crucial thing to understand is that strategy will be fraught with anxiety. You'll feel a little uneasy about it since, if you're a manager, you've probably been told to do things you can back up in advance. You can't demonstrate in advance that your plan will work. A plan can be analyzed, and you can conclude that everything in it is feasible. Since they are things that we can control, let's just take care of those. They won't, however, add up to much. In terms of strategy, you must acknowledge that if our idea of what we can accomplish and how the market will react is accurate, this will put us in a very favorable position. Don't try to be flawless or be certain. Just accept that you can't. And that is not a sign of poor management. That is being a great leader, because you are allowing your organization to do something amazing. The second thing I advise is to clearly explain the reasons behind your strategy. What would need to be accurate about us, the sector, the competition, and the customers for this approach to succeed? What makes you do that? It's because you can then see the world unfold, and it will allow you to adjust your strategy if something you say is in the logic that would have to be true for this to function is not working out as you had intended. And since strategy is a journey, you need a way to adjust, hone, and refine it along the way so that it grows better and better. Avoiding overcomplicating a strategy is another factor that helps. If you can condense your strategy into one page, even better. Here's where we'll be playing. Here's how we have decided to triumph. These are the skills that need to be in place. Here are the management systems. And for that reason, it will succeed in achieving our aim and objective. The logic that must hold true in order for everything to turn out as we hope is then laid out. Do it now, and as you go, watch and make adjustments. Although it could seem like worrying and stressing more than planning, I would say that planning is a surefire way to lose. If you use strategy, you have the best chance of succeeding.